That is a crocodile chomping on a leather bag and barely making a dent in it. And that bag is the legendary and kind of controversial large classic leather briefcase from Saddleback Leather. Probably the most talked about leather bag on earth. And man, is there a lot to talk about with this bag. Here's mine in the dark coffee color. It is like 6 months old. Hasn't seen a ton of use during lockdown, but it's still picking up some nice wear, I didn't get it for free. I wish I had, as it is not cheap. And since everyone wants to know how this bag ages, here is the 11-year-old chestnut leather bag from my buddy Troy. This is a different colored leather. It looks like this when you get it. This bag is so old, it's a slightly different design. Most notably in the 2 rivet design, you've got keeping the middle strap here down with no logo there, but there is a bit of a logo here. Although they're different colors, you can still get a good idea for how this bag ages. The leather is way softer on the 11-year-old chestnut leather bag. It was conditioned a couple months ago with Venetian Shoe Cream, and it just looks amazing. This is how nice and soft it is. It's still very stiff on the newer bag, but it's gonna soften up. According to its CEO...
So my dog and I moved to Juarez, and I moved into a $100 a month apartment. Slept on the floor with my dog for 3 years, no hot water.
While dodging mercenaries to found the company, which produces a wide range of bags and backpacks now, mostly leather, some canvas, all very heritage. You might have seen Saddleback in the million "Is it really worth $700" posts on Reddit, or maybe in ads on YouTube, and if not, you'll probably get one after watching this. The most popular is the very clicky how to knock off a Saddleback bag video. It's got a 100-year warranty, no breakable parts like zippers or snaps. This is the most popular of their bags, at least judging by the number of reviews on their site. This almost comically large and heavy briefcase has over 400 reviews. The more sensibly sized medium one has 2. Well, let's talk about the leather. We'll start off with that, the meat of the bag, and then we can look at the design and the rivets and the buckles and the D-rings and all the rest of this good stuff. So at about a 1/4 inch thick, this is enormously thick leather, and it's full grain as well. So it's made from the outer layer of the animal's hide. This leather is so substantial that the bag weighs a good 7 pounds. So it is not for the faint of core strength when you are carrying it around. They say on their site that where the leather is sourced, quote, is a trade secret, but we can tell you all of our cows are raised in North American pastures and were raised for meat as well as their hide. I can tell you that it comes from Lafargue Tannery in Leon, Mexico, because it says so on the front page of Lafargue's website. The good news is that Lafargue is one of the best tanneries on earth. They do a lot of leather for Thursday Boots and Wolverine and Timberland, Sperry, all these guys. It's very esteemed tannery. The potential downsides of the leather, the raw edges here haven't been finished or rolled or burnished or anything. Some will say it's a cost-saving measure and that over time they'll get frayed and fuzzy. I think it works well with a whole rugged look. And if you look at Troy's bag, I guess it's not perfectly smooth, but it's fine. Like, it's not meant to be a luxury bag or anything. And Saddleback says the reason that the edges are raw is to show that the leather has been tanned all the way through and doesn't have any of the blue you'll see in cheaper chrome tanned leather. So it's kind of an act of transparency, not finishing the edges, according to them anyway. Saddleback calls the leather super high quality, and it is. It's crazy thick, it'll age well. As you can see, it's just beautiful after 11 years. But I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that it's chrome tanned as opposed to vegetable tanned. And there's no shortage of guys who say that if it's chrome tanned and it's made in Mexico, it shouldn't be this expensive. I'll get into that a little bit later, but in short, veg tanned leather, it takes much more time and more money to make. And chrome tanning is done in like a day, and the chemicals used in chrome tanning are a little bit harsher on the hide, and they mean it probably won't last as long as veg tanned. And some guys think the way veg tanned ages look better. You can make up your own mind if this has aged well or not. It has. But even if you think chrome tanned is inferior, you're still getting a 100-year warranty here. It's obviously not gonna be falling apart anytime soon. And this has 11 years of daily use and has traveled hundreds of thousands of miles. Troy used to travel 75% of the year selling high-end eyewear. So it's literally gone all over the planet and it's not showing any signs of slowing down. And the bag's got plenty of other features people like that contribute to the cost outside of the way it's tanned, such as like the extreme thickness of the leather, the minimal pieces of leather. Note that if they can, they'll only have like one large piece of leather, like here, instead of sticking together like a couple of pieces like you'll see along the chest on like cheap leather jackets, for example. And it's got quite a lot of pull up to it. You can see if I bend the leather, it lightens because it's moving around oils and grease that have been kind of infused into the leather. So all that grease adds to the leather's longevity. They recommend conditioning with Chamberlain leather milk every 6 to 12 months, but my mate Troy, he used Venetian Shoe Cream. And as you can see, looks pretty badass as it ages. It's an extremely rugged bag. So let's talk about the features, like what they've turned this leather into. All right, so this is a bag that is so rugged and weatherproof that, yeah, it's a little hard to pull off in a formal setting without someone asking if you're Indiana Jones. Although while you might look at this and think it's like very busy, and indeed Saddleback proudly calls this bag over-engineered, note that there are no bells and whistles like zippers, snaps, buttons, and magnets. In other words, there's something breakable here. Even the hardware here is 316 stainless steel, which is very resistant to corrosion and rust, more so than 304 stainless steel, which is often compared with, and 316 is the most expensive stainless steel alloy because of the extra nickel and molybdenum in it. Yes, I Google weird things when I do my reviews. The D-rings and bridle rings are for strapping on blankets and dirty boots, fly rod tubes, that kind of thing. Or for dangling a water bottle from a carabiner or lashing it to your horse while you're delivering the mail in the 19th century. And you'll note, check it out, you can actually thread the strap through these 3 rings and turn it into a backpack. That's why it comes with 2 shoulder pads on the shoulder strap. So that's useful if you're going a long way with this bag because again, it is 7 pounds without anything in it. So the straps are all single pieces of leather, which is expensive to do. Cheap Walmart belts, you might notice, if you look closely, are often like multiple pieces of leather glued together and are not in fact a single piece of leather. In fact, in a pinch, you can take out one of these side straps here and turn it into a 36-inch waist belt if you want to. Now, I seldom use these straps anyway, but you can use them for like lashing an umbrella or something to the outside of the bag. Now these bags are 52-ish pieces of leather, all cut by hand, and the thread is stitched with 5 stitches per inch, which is relatively low density, so there's more leather between the holes, like making it less likely to mess with the leather's integrity. And the threads are UV-resistant marine-grade polyester, because apparently you want your polyester to be saltwater and ultraviolet resistant. Some polyester seems to deteriorate in the sun. Yeah, like polyester is synthetic, but you might be thinking you should have had cotton in this, but you don't want cotton if you want to get like a bag that's going to last for 100 years. Like it's just not strong enough. So I think you should steer clear of cotton threads for like more rugged bags. And while we're talking about polyester, there's extra polyester in stress points throughout the bag, like the central buckle and the D-rings, because leather stretches and polyester doesn't, so it helps to keep the bag from losing shape over time. The founder took these reinforcing techniques from saddlery, which is probably where I got the name of the company from. The rivets, a little leather bag 101, you want rivets at stress points to minimize any chance of stitching and stuff coming undone. And Saddleback has dutifully punched them at the very ergonomically round leather handle. There are 4 of them in the handle in total, which is reinforced to a bar on the top, right here, to avoid stretching over time. And there are also rivets on the D-rings and the bridle rings, and if you open up the top of the bag, you can see a lot of them punching through the pigskin suede lining. It's pig suede here in the new bag. The old bag has a regular pig leather. And now we're on the inside of the bag. So, the biggest downside to this bag, in my opinion, is the big freaking divider running down the middle of it, which limits the stuff you can keep in the bag. If you want to bundle up a really big coat in there or something, sometimes that's impossible. Or maybe you want to carry like a pie without turning it sideways, you cannot. The second biggest downside is there's no laptop sleeve here either inside the bag. So that's, it's a little bit disappointing. I mean, the pigskin is cool. You also got plenty of pockets. You got a key holder as well. One cool thing is there's kind of a false bottom down here as well. So on the back panel here, you can lift this up and you can hide like some extra money or like, your passport or something in there if someone happens to be stealing stuff out of your bag but not stealing the bag itself. But they're probably gonna steal this bag itself because it's a really cool bag. All right, as for the price, 689 bucks. Very expensive, very, very expensive. It was about 500 bucks when this one was bought a decade ago. And that increase is not consistent with inflation. It's almost twice the amount it would be if it were just about inflation. And like I said earlier, chrome tan bag made in Mexico. Some people consider that a bit of a ripoff. I'll say this. It's made in Mexico, but it's made in quite the facility. There's free childcare and finance and relationship management classes, English lessons for the staff. They're paid above a living wage. The business owners also engage in a lot of philanthropy. A good amount of it is missionary work, which some guys aren't so jazzed about, but I'm not gonna touch that one. But the quality of the bag is very high, right? It's very well made. Yes, it's chrome tanned, but it's so thick and it's got the rivets and polyester reinforcement all over the place in all the right places. 100-year guarantee. I actually showed it to my buddy Tyler, who has a little leather bag company called Home Field Advantage in New Jersey. And he said of this bag, beautiful rugged bag crafted with full grain leather, no bells and whistles like zippers and snaps, just an all-round durable and strong bag that will last a lifetime. And this is a guy who only works with veg tanned leather and he still thinks it's an amazing bag. Is it worth 689 bucks? I mean, it's still made in Mexico. It probably should be $100 cheaper, but look, it's a cool bag and you can give it to your grandkids and that's worth the markup to some folks. I mean, after all, it's 11 years old and it's going very, very strong. All right, let's wrap this up with some pros and cons. Pros are, okay, it's an extremely durable, long-lasting bag, right? It'll last you 100 years if it doesn't get your money back. And I mean, that's the whole thing. That's it. I've already talked about why it's super durable and will last forever. The leather's crazy thick, the rivets, the stitching are all super long-lasting. I dig the pigskin lining as well. I like the false bottom in the back as well. I like the fact that it's continuous pieces of leather wherever possible. The hardware won't rust. The rings, let you lash all manner of crap to the outside of it. They'll let you turn it into a backpack as well. The handle feels great in your hand, even when it's heavy. And look at this 11-year-old bag. It looks cool as shit. This is what people want when they want a leather bag. I mean, most of the time anyway. Which brings us to the potential downsides. Yeah, man, it's not a dressy briefcase, right? You can't take it to formal environments, fine. It's very expensive. It's made in Mexico, if that bothers you. The craftsmanship is top notch, but some people think Americans are more deserving of a salary. It's chrome tanned. It's still going to last a lifetime, but some people prefer the way the veg tan ages, if that's something you prefer, all right? It's got this branding on the front, which I absolutely hate. I don't like paying money to do free advertising for brands, super uncool. The two rivet design in the old bag is better because you don't get the logo. The edges aren't curled or finished or anything. Now, I think that's more of a legitimate complaint on a capital L luxury bag than a bag like this, which is clearly meant to be beaten around and look rugged. If you think everything should be perfect on a $700 bag, I get that. But the aesthetics are going to be different on an Indiana Jones type bag. You know, I don't think it's a big deal. They have smaller bags, of course, but these ones are absurdly heavy. The divider in the middle does limit the kind of stuff you could put in them. There's also no laptop sleeve. And also, lastly, when you're carrying these around in a hurry, you know, all this hardware can get a little bit noisy, especially if you've got like a laptop and like a water bottle and like a, I don't know, a thermos and everything else in there, your keys. Yeah, it's a bit jangly for some guys. So that's also worth mentioning as well. All right, man, that's my review of this Saddleback Large Briefcase. It's a truly legendary bag. It's the stuff that people like whisper about in hushed tones. It's really cool. I'm glad I got my hands on one. I want to thank Troy Barmore as well, by the way, my buddy who lent me this. He's a vintage watch specialist and a voice actor if you need one of those. And make sure you subscribe as well. I'm planning on doing like more leather bags here, by the way. I've got some Satchel and Page, Filson, Cravat, and some other interesting ones coming up, as well as boots and denim and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, subscribe and have a good day.